The presentation consists of 4 parts. First, we will introduce the background and objective of the study. Second, we will review the relevant theories. Third, we will discuss the findings from the China and Malaysia case studies and compare their experience. Finally, we will conclude with the key findings and policy implications.
Urbanization refers to the movement of people from rural areas to cities. It is usually driven by industrialization and economic growth. Urbanization can create more jobs, increase productivity, and improve living standards. China and Malaysia have both experienced rapid urbanization in recent decades. While urbanization has brought many economic benefits, it has also created social and environmental challenges. Therefore, this study examines how urbanization affects economic development in both countries. Although urbanization promotes economic growth and creates employment opportunities, it also caused several problems. These include environmental pollution, housing affordability issues, traffic congestion, and inequality between urban and rural areas. In both China and Malaysia, the benefits of urbanization are not distributed equally among all groups of society. In addition, most previous studies only focus on one country. There are very few studies that compare the experiences of China and Malaysia. These studies have 4 main objectives. First, to analyze the trends of urbanization in China and Malaysia. Second, to examine how urbanization contributes to economic development. Third, to identify the social and environmental problems caused by urbanization. Finally, to compare the effectiveness of government policies in managing urbanization challenges. Based on the objectives, this study addresses 3 research questions. First, what are the urbanization trends in China and Malaysia? Second, what social and environmental problems have emerged as a result of urbanization? Third, how effective are government policies in addressing these challenges? These questions guide our analysis and comparison of both countries.
Most studies don't really compare China and Malaysia side by side. They also miss the hidden costs of urbanization, things like income gaps and pollution. All serious reviews and welfare focus mostly on GDP growth, but they ignore development quality and long-term fairness. So our research fills that gap by looking at the whole picture. Economic growth, social and environmental impacts both countries. We are using a coordinated approach, working with existing data from China's NDS, Malaysia's DOS, and World Bank reports. We compare 2 countries, review policy documents, pull together findings from different studies, and trend trends over time. Our research focuses on 4 things: urbanization trends, what drives economic growth, social and environmental problems, and how well policies work.
About urbanization and economic growth. I will start with basic theory and talk about common city problems and finally compare the challenges of faster urbanization in Malaysia and China. First, let's look at the core theory, the dual economic model. Every developing country has 2 main parts, traditional farms areas and modern industrial cities. The main idea is clear. There are extra workers in the countryside. If we move these workers from farms to city, they can make more products. This lifts work efficiency, raises people's income, and pushes the whole country's economy forward. We can get one important idea from this theory. Moving works to cities is not just for people to earn more money. It is a necessary step for a country to change from an agricultural nation to an industrial one. But this change only works well if cities can hold and support all these new people. If cities cannot keep up, many big problems will appear. Malaysia's rapid industrialization has led to strong urban concentration. However, infrastructure growth hasn't kept pace with its population boom, causing housing, regional and traffic issues. China's urbanization is the largest in history. While fueling economic growth, it also faces deep-seated systemic challenges like the hukou system, ecological pressure, and urban-rural inequality. These three troubles happen in every country with faster urban growth, including Malaysia and China. Now, let's compare these two countries one by one. First, Malaysia's faster industrial development makes most people and business gather in big cities, but infrastructure cannot grow as fast as the rising population, which brings three big issues. First, the housing affordability crisis. City house prices rise sharply. Middle and low-income people cannot pay for them. The government's cheap housing plans also meet many difficulties when they are carried out. Second, urban balanced regional development and bad traffic. Most economic activity only stay in Malaysia. More people drive private cars, but public transport is not good enough, so big cities face terrible traffic every day. Let's look at China. China has the largest urbanization process in world history. It greatly helps economic growth, but it also brings deep structural problems. First, barriers from the hukou system. This system stops migrant workers from getting full city public services. A large group of people live and work in cities, but cannot enjoy equal social benefits. This stops them from fully enjoying city life. Second, environmental harm and ongoing reforms. Faster industry growth creates serious pollution. Now, the government is reforming the hukou system and carrying out new urbanization plans. The goal is to fix inequality and build sustainable development.
Here present the Chinese case study explain how urbanization has contributed to economic development. China is one of the most significant examples of rapid urbanization in modern history. As shown in the figure, the urbanization rate increased from 17.9% in 1978 to 67% in 2024, with more than 800 million people moving from rural areas to cities. From the perspective of development economics, this process reflects the dual sectors model. Labor gradually moved from the traditional agricultural sectors to the modern industrial and service sectors, where productivity and wages were higher. This structural transformations helped accelerate industrialization, increase labor productivity, and support China's rapid economic growth. However, urbanization also creates several challenges. The first challenge is the hukou system. Although migrant workers contribute significantly to urban economic development, benefits limited access to education, healthcare, and social welfare because their services were linked to their place of regulations. This shows that economic growth does not automatically generate inclusive development. The second challenge is income inequality. Urban residents generally earn much higher income than rural residents, and China's Gini coefficient once reached 0.491. This indicated that the benefit of economic growth will not distribute equally across society. The third challenge is environmental pressures. Rapid industrialization led to several air pollution and resource consumption. As shown in the chart, Chinese PM2.5 concentrate declined from 66 microgram per cubic meter in 2013 to 30 microgram per cubic meter in 2024, reflects the success of environment policies and green development initiatives. To address these issues, the Chinese government introduced the National New Urbanization Plan 2014 to 2020, focused on hukou reform, better public service, infrastructures improvement, and social welfare support. In conclusion, Chinese experience demonstrates that urbanization can be a powerful driver of economic development and structural transformation. However, long-term success depends not only on economic growth, but also on social inclusion, environment, sustainability, and efficient government policies.
This letter meaning talk about Malaysia urbanization and related social problem. Malaysia has achieved the required urbanization over the past decision. Its overpopulation is from rural residents in 1991. Industrial policies and urban construction charity promotion economic development. However, population will also bring in class differentiation, both local migrants and foreign workers face difference in housing, population, social and social welfare. Economic growing has not benefited all group equally. In the past, Malaysia country suffered from severe air and water pollution due to interstation and water expensive. To solve this problem, the government carrying out together manufacturing population of the economy has been significantly improved. Air quickly gets much better and green condition is also developing fast. This letter can compare the experience of China and Malaysia. Both countries demonstrate that urban nations can promote economic development by shifting labor from agriculture to more production and several sectors. As a result, both countries achieved higher productivity, job country and income growing. However, both countries also face significant challenge. In China, the local sales limited major works access to public services. In Malaysia, rural disparities and housing affordability become major country concerns. It process was also invited in both countries during report about expensive to add these issues. Both governments introduced policy reforms. China implements the natural new urbanization plan, where Malaysia introduced the nature urbanization polo and natural physical 2040. Overall, the comparison shows that urbanization can be all influencing rate of economic growing, but sustainable development dropping on inclusive interdependence, economic protection, and effective government's population. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
To conclude, urbanization has contributed significantly to economic development in both China and Malaysia by creating jobs, increasing productivities, and supporting industrial growth. At the same time, it has also caused challenges such as pollution, housing problems, traffic congestion, and income inequality. Therefore, government should promote sustainable and inclusive urbanization to ensure that economic growth benefits all members of society. Thank you.